I'm Debi Peverill, and you're listening to a post in a series on pricing and profitability. Today I'm talking about calculating break-even for a service business. We already have posts for calculating break-even for a product business, as well as posts on increasing revenue and decreasing expenses in order to improve your break-even. So break-even is the point at which you neither make money nor lose money. So you have a certain level of sales that achieves break-even. And of course, we would like to make money, so break-even isn't the goal, but break-even is a good calculation to figure out if it makes sense for you to be doing this product or service. And generally what I say is that if you're operating below break-even, well, it's either a hobby or a bad idea. If you're operating above break-even, well, now you got a shot at making it into a real business. So when we're trying to figure out the break-even for a service business, we are going to do that calculation based on the number of hours. Okay? So service business typically charge by the hour. So we've got the same kind of ideas we had for the product business, where we calculate the fixed costs and we divide it by our hourly rate in order to figure out how many hours of work we need to get. So years ago, I was teaching a how to start a business course, and I had a gentleman tell me that his goal was to make $7 an hour. Now, this was a while ago, but minimum wage was still higher than $7 an hour. And I really couldn't understand why anybody would be setting up a business to make less money than an employer was allowed to pay them. And his deal was that he thought if he was charging $7 an hour, he would have a lot of work. And I agreed with him. I thought there were plenty of people who would take advantage of someone who was only charging $7 an hour. In fact, I told him if it was legal, I could hire him as an employee and pay him $7 an hour and charge him out at $45 an hour. Then I could make money, since he didn't seem to be too interested in actually making money. So the group at the workshop kind of challenged him on, why $7? And, he kind of stuck to his idea that he thought he could make money at $7 an hour. He thought he would get plenty of business. I agreed that some contractors would probably hire him as a subcontractor, because it's not legal to pay somebody less than minimum wage unless they work for themselves. And then you could pay a subcontractor that little bit of money. So what we did, we worked with him a little bit and said, well, how much money do you need every week in order to live? Like, what's your rent per week? What does it cost you to eat? Do you have health insurance? Do you have any loan payments, etc.? And we added it all up to figure out how many hours he was going to have to work at $7 an hour in order to cover that cost. And of course, it was a big number. It was a bigger number than the number of hours people would like to work in a week. So the calculation of a service business break-even, same idea. What are your fixed costs? What is the rent? What are the fixed salaries? What is the insurance? You add all that up and you divide it by your hourly rate. So this is the rate you're charging clients. So typically, I know in our business, if we're doing bookkeeping, we're charging that out at $55 an hour. So if I was figuring out whether I wanted to hire another bookkeeper, I could add up the fixed costs that would come with hiring another person and divide that by $55 and figure out if I had enough work to hire somebody and pay them not $55 an hour, pay them whatever I would be paying them, and I'm charging them out at $55 an hour. So you're working for yourself and you've got some kind of hourly charge out rate. You can add up all your costs, divide it by your charge out rate, and figure out how many hours you have to work. So if you're charging $50 an hour, you have to work twice as much as though if you were charging $100 an hour. So if you were to increase your hourly charge out rate from 50 to 100, then you would have to work half as much to make the same amount of money. So what happens in this scenario is there enough work at that rate? Okay. If I was charging $100 an hour for bookkeeping, I don't think we would have the level of business that we have here at the $55 an hour. So you need to do these calculations. But another way to look at it is, if you could do work that you could charge people $100 an hour for, then why wouldn't you do that compared to doing work that you can charge people $55 an hour for? So when you're taking a look at your calculations of how much work you need to have in order to break even as a service provider, keep in mind that you could change your hourly rate, or you could do different services in order to break even. When we compare breaking even with a product to breaking even with a service, it is a lot easier to calculate breaking even with a service because we only have the 1 hourly rate to worry about. What is harder with a service business, though, is to scale it, how to make it bigger. With a product business, you can hire people to make products, you can hire people to sell your products, and you can make quite a bit of money if you sell a lot of products. With hours, if you want to build a big business, you're going to have to hire a lot of people. And that's not as easily done as it is with a product business. So, last thing about calculating break-even as a service business, figure out your fixed costs, divide them by your hourly rate, and figure out how many hours you got to work in order to break even.